God said, "Calcify them," and suddenly everything you thought was untouchable is cracking, breaking, turning to stone. Your time is running out, and you must act, quietly, secretly, without anyone noticing, before it's too late. If you hesitate, the chance will vanish, and what could have been alive and powerful will be forever frozen. This isn't just a warning, it's a matter of survival. Why? Because in the past, we ignored what seemed small, harmless, or invisible, only to watch it harden into something unstoppable. I've seen it happen. Dreams left to rot, energy wasted on distractions, and potential lost while we slept. The three things you must calcify secretly are critical. They hold the key to freedom, strength, and control. Every second you wait, the harder it becomes. Now, imagine yourself fully aligned, moving with perfect intention. When you act now, discreetly, the world won't know the transformation, but it will feel it. Barriers collapse, energy shifts, and opportunities appear like lightning. This is your moment. Calcify the unseen forces that control your life, and do it fast. Do not let hesitation steal this from you. Subscribe now. Subscribe to help us reach 98,000 subscribers. Hit that button. Turn on notifications. If you don't, you risk being left behind while others move ahead. Comment, share, and engage, because this knowledge is too powerful to sit idle. Every second counts, and the time to act is now. Don't just watch. Step into the change before it's gone forever. There are moments in human history when guidance does not arrive as noise but as stillness, clear, undeniable, and heavy with meaning. Calcify them is not a command shouted from the sky. It is a whisper that settles into the bones. It speaks of preservation, of strengthening what is fragile before time erodes it. This instruction is not about fear or urgency alone. It is about wisdom, timing, and sacred responsibility. To calcify is to protect essence, not to freeze life. Throughout spiritual traditions, divine instructions often come encoded in symbolism rather than direct action. Calcification here represents stabilization, creating something strong enough to endure pressure, chaos, and transformation. Just as bones calcify to support life, spiritual calcification supports identity, purpose, and survival. It is an instruction meant for transition periods when the old world no longer functions and the new one has not yet fully arrived. This divine message is not abstract or distant. It demands awareness, intention, and conscious participation. It is a reminder that survival is not accidental. It is cultivated. What you choose to preserve now will determine what remains standing later. Calcification is not about holding on blindly. It is about choosing wisely what deserves permanence. Not everyone hears a message like this, and not everyone is meant to act on it. Being chosen does not mean elevated above others. It means burdened with awareness. It means you notice patterns others ignore, feel shifts before they are visible, and sense responsibility where others feel comfort. This message reaches those who are already awake, even if they have doubted themselves along the way. The chosen one is not defined by perfection, spirituality, or purity. In fact, they are often shaped by struggle, loss, and inner conflict. Their awareness is earned through endurance. This instruction arrives because you have reached a threshold where continuing as before would mean spiritual erosion, but conscious action could mean growth and stability. This is not about ego or destiny fantasies. It is about alignment. When something resonates deeply, It is because it mirrors a truth already alive inside you. This message finds you because you are ready to protect what matters, release what no longer serves, and quietly prepare for what is coming. Without applause, without validation, and without display. Calcification, in spiritual terms, is often misunderstood. It does not mean becoming rigid or emotionally closed. It means reinforcing your core so that external chaos cannot dismantle you. Just as minerals strengthen bone over time, intentional practices strengthen the inner structure of the soul. Survival is not just physical, it is psychological, emotional, and spiritual. In times of uncertainty, people who lack inner structure collapse inward. They absorb fear, negativity, and confusion without filters. Calcification is the opposite. It creates boundaries. It teaches discernment. It allows you to remain open without being invaded, compassionate without being consumed, and aware without being overwhelmed. Spiritual survival today requires more than belief. It requires grounding. Calcification transforms belief into stability. It allows growth without disintegration. When the world accelerates and pressure increases, only what has been reinforced from within can endure without losing its essence. The first thing that must be calcified is your inner clarity, your ability to think, choose, and perceive without distortion. In a world flooded with noise, clarity is survival. Without it, even good intentions become misdirected. Strengthening your clarity means protecting your thoughts, refining your focus, and choosing what influences your mind. The second is your energetic boundary. Every interaction leaves a trace. Without boundaries, you carry emotional residue that is not yours: fear, envy, resentment, and exhaustion. Calcifying this boundary does not make you distant, it makes you sovereign. You decide what enters, what stays, and what dissolves. The third is your intention for growth. Growth without intention becomes chaos. Calcifying intention means committing to progress while allowing old versions of yourself to dissolve. It is not about ambition alone, it is about direction. What you protect now determines what you become later. Before anything can grow, something must end. Letting go is not failure, it is evolution. Many people cling to outdated identities, habits, and emotional wounds because they feel familiar. But familiarity is not the same as safety. What once protected you may now be limiting you, and recognizing that takes courage. Passing away does not mean erasing your past. It means honoring it without allowing it to dictate your future. Old karma, unresolved emotions, and inherited fears lose their power when they are acknowledged and released intentionally. This process can feel uncomfortable, even painful, because it challenges attachment, but it also creates space. True release is quiet. It does not need witnesses. It happens internally, through decision and surrender. When you allow what no longer serves you to fade, you are not losing anything of value. You are clearing ground for something stronger, clearer, and more aligned to emerge. Once something has been released, the space it leaves behind does not remain empty for long. Nature despises emptiness, and so does the human spirit. Regrowth begins the moment you decide what deserves to take root next. This is not about rebuilding the old life with better decoration. It is about designing something that actually fits who you have become. Regrowth is intentional, slow, and deeply personal. Many people rush this phase because stillness feels uncomfortable. But real growth does not explode overnight. It forms quietly beneath the surface. Like roots developing underground, the most important changes happen where no one is watching. This is where discipline, patience, and self-honesty matter more than motivation. You begin asking better questions. What nourishes me? What drains me? What aligns with my values now, not years ago? True regrowth also involves trust. Trust in timing, in your inner guidance, and in your ability to adapt. You may not see immediate results, but every intentional choice compounds. When regrowth is grounded in clarity rather than fear, it creates a life that is resilient, flexible, and capable of sustaining long-term progress. Water has always been more than a physical substance. It is a mirror, a purifier, and a medium for transformation. In this ritual, water becomes a living participant, absorbing what no longer serves you. Every worry, every resentment, every trace of negative energy is transferred into it with intention. The act is symbolic, but also profoundly psychological. It externalizes what weighs down your soul, creating space for clarity. When you look into the water, see the reflection not just of your face, but of your inner state. Infuse it with focus, intention, and quiet determination. Imagine the water neutralizing what was harmful, transforming toxicity into potential energy for growth. This is not wishful thinking. It is conscious alignment, using a natural element to reinforce mental and spiritual purification. The beauty of this practice is its subtlety. Water does its work silently without fanfare. By engaging in this ritual privately, you harness a force that has long been recognized by shamans, mystics, and ancient cultures. That energy can move, transform, and be redirected when given direction. It is a bridge between what you release and what you are about to cultivate. While water carries away the old, soil provides the foundation for the new. Soil is life, rich with potential, a reminder that every strong tree began as a seed in humble earth. In this practice, soil represents your capacity for regeneration, your willingness to plant intentional seeds of growth, and your commitment to nurturing them patiently. Soil connects you to the tangible world. It reminds you that transformation is not purely abstract. It requires grounding, action, and patience. By combining soil with intention, you are symbolically saying, I am ready to cultivate the life I want, rooted in clarity, care, and conscious effort. Each handful is a tangible representation of hope and progress. This act is both humble and sacred. Just as farmers tend their land with love and discipline, you tend your inner world. Soil teaches lessons about cycles, resilience, and abundance. It is a reminder that growth cannot be rushed, and that true regeneration takes time, attention, and respect for natural rhythm. Numbers are not just quantities. They are vibrations, codes, and carriers of intention. Certain numbers have been recognized across cultures as signals of transformation, harmony, and prosperity. The numbers 5552, 222, and 111 are more than symbols. They are keys to aligning your energy with abundance and progress. 555 symbolizes change and opportunity, a gentle nudge from the universe to step forward without fear. 222 resonates with balance, alignment, and manifestation, reminding you that consistent intention breeds results. 111 represents new beginnings, awakening, and the spark of creation. Together, They form a triad that guides energy toward growth, stability, and fulfillment. Writing these numbers and infusing them with intention is not superstition, it is conscious focus. As you integrate these symbols into your practice, you are creating a coded blueprint for abundance. It is a bridge between intention and reality, where spiritual alignment meets practical action, amplifying the energy you cultivate with water, soil, and secrecy. Placement matters. Energy responds to environment, and intention responds to focus. The bright, hidden corner of your home is a sanctuary, a space where light enters, but observation is limited. It is the perfect location for combining water, soil, and sacred numbers, where your ritual can mature without distraction or interference. This corner becomes a living altar, quietly transforming the space around it. Light energizes it, concealment protects it. As you place the elements, imagine them rooting into your home, radiating stability and amplifying growth. Even when unseen, the energy permeates, influencing the space and those who inhabit it in subtle, beneficial ways. Think of it as planting a seed with strategic precision. The placement enhances the effect, ensuring that your ritual does not just symbolize intention, but actively anchors it. Like hidden foundations beneath a strong building, these elements quietly fortify your life for the challenges and opportunities ahead. All preparation, ritual, and intention are meaningless without action. Spiritual awareness is not passive. It is a call to practical engagement. The work you have done internally must ripple outward into decisions, behaviors, and habits. The world does not pause for enlightenment. It moves, challenges, and rewards those who act. This is the moment to integrate clarity, boundaries, and growth into everyday life. Step consciously into decisions, speak thoughtfully, and nurture your environment and relationships. Let the energy you have cultivated guide practical choices. Every intentional act compounds, building a life aligned with both spiritual insight and worldly purpose. Remember, timing matters. Hesitation allows stagnation. The energy you have gathered through calcification, water, soil, and sacred numbers is at its peak now. Acting consciously ensures that the transition from spiritual awareness to material reality is smooth, powerful, and enduring. Your life, your progress, and your soul's evolution depend on this bridge between knowing and doing. The head has always symbolized more than intellect. It represents direction, awareness, and command. In many ancient traditions, the head is considered the gateway between the physical and the unseen. What you allow to occupy your thoughts eventually shapes your reality. This spiritual phase emphasizes mental sovereignty. Protecting your mind is now as important as protecting your body. Thoughts are not passive, they reproduce. A single idea, repeated often enough, becomes belief. Belief becomes behavior. Behavior becomes destiny. This is why protection at the level of thought is critical. Not every idea deserves your attention, and not every voice deserves authority over your mind. Discernment is no longer optional, it is survival. Creation also begins in the head, but it does not end there. When thoughts are clear and protected, they move downward into action. This phase asks you to be mindful of what you mentally consume, what narratives you repeat, and what future you are unconsciously building. Mastery of thought leads to mastery of direction. Survival has never been about standing still. Species, civilizations, and individuals survive because they adapt, innovate, and pass forward what works. Progress is not about constant movement. It is about meaningful evolution. When progress stops, decay begins, even if everything looks stable on the surface. The reproduction of ideas is just as vital as biological reproduction. Ideas carry values, strategies, and wisdom across time. When healthy ideas are not shared or preserved, societies weaken. When harmful ideas multiply unchecked, destruction follows. This is why intentional thinking and conscious communication matter more than ever. Progress today requires balance, honoring tradition while allowing innovation. You are not meant to abandon the past entirely, nor are you meant to worship it. Survival depends on selecting what deserves continuation and what must be updated. When ideas evolve wisely, they become tools for stability rather than weapons of chaos. Long before modern science named the process, ancient civilizations understood the power of stabilization. They carved symbols into stone, aligned structures with celestial movements, and embedded knowledge into landforms meant to last beyond generations. These were not artistic choices alone. They were acts of preservation, designed to withstand time, weather, and human forgetfulness. Mountains, temples, and sacred sites were chosen not randomly, but for their energetic stability. Solid ground was seen as a guardian of memory. Calcification, in this sense, was about anchoring truth where it could not easily be erased. These civilizations knew that fragile mediums, paper, voice, rumor, could be lost, but stone endured. Today, the medium has changed, but the principle remains. What you stabilize intentionally through habit, ritual, and placement becomes harder to corrupt. Calcification is not outdated knowledge. It is ancient wisdom re-emerging in a modern context, reminding us that endurance is designed, not accidental. Not everything powerful needs an audience. Some processes weaken when exposed too early. Secrecy is not about fear, it is about protection. Growth that is constantly observed becomes performative, shaped by expectation rather than truth. When something is kept private, it develops according to its own rhythm. Spiritual work, especially during fragile phases, benefits from quiet. External opinions, skepticism, or even admiration can distort intention. Secrecy allows honesty. It creates a container where transformation can occur without interference. This is why many ancient rites were hidden, not to exclude, but to preserve purity. There is strength in moving silently. When results appear without announcement, they carry stability rather than spectacle. What is truly calcified does not need validation. It stands on its own. Protecting your process is an act of respect toward what you are becoming. There is a subtle pressure many people feel but cannot explain, a sense that time is moving differently now. Days blur together, decisions carry heavier consequences, and opportunities appear and vanish faster than before. This is not imagination, it is time compression. When cycles accelerate, hesitation becomes costly. What could once wait now demands response. And awareness alone is no longer enough. Delay creates stagnation in moments that require motion. When inner guidance calls for action and the response is postponed, energy begins to scatter. Doubt creeps in, momentum fades, and clarity dulls. Time compression does not punish, it simply moves on. Those who act in alignment move with the current. Those who wait are left struggling against it. This does not mean rushing blindly. It means recognizing when preparation has ended and execution must begin. You have already gathered insight, endured lessons, and released what no longer serves. The window now is not for more thinking. It is for embodied action. Even small, deliberate steps taken now carry amplified impact. History shows that transformative eras favor the decisive. Civilizations, leaders, and individuals who sensed the shift and moved accordingly shaped the future. Those who waited for certainty were overtaken by events. The message is clear. When time compresses, intention must become motion, or it dissolves. Silence has always been misunderstood as absence, when in truth, it is presence in its most concentrated form. When you speak less, energy gathers. When you explain less, intention strengthens. Silence is not withdrawal, it is containment. In periods of inner construction, words can leak power before it has solidified. Every time something sacred is spoken prematurely, it becomes vulnerable to distortion. Opinions, projections, and doubts from others infiltrate what was meant to grow undisturbed. Silence acts as insulation, protecting the internal process from external interference. What remains unspoken matures in its own rhythm. Anchoring is the quiet counterpart to expression. It is the act of living your intention rather than narrating it. When your actions align consistently, no explanation is required. The body, the environment, and the choices you make become the language. This form of communication is stronger than words. There is also discipline in silence. It trains awareness, patience, and self-trust. You learn to listen more deeply, to intuition, to timing, to subtle signals. Silence refines perception. In this phase, speaking less is not about secrecy alone. It is about strength. Exposure introduces unpredictability. When a process is exposed before it stabilizes, it absorbs foreign energy, curiosity, skepticism, admiration, envy. None of these are neutral. Even well-meaning attention can disrupt fragile alignment. Rituals are not weakened by disbelief alone. They are weakened by interruption. A seal is energetic containment. It holds intention in place until it becomes self-sustaining. Exposure creates cracks in that container. Each external opinion subtly pulls the focus outward, shifting authority away from the practitioner and into the collective. Power diffuses where focus scatters. Ancient practices understood this deeply. Initiations, rites, and transitions were hidden not out of fear, but out of respect for the process. Something unfinished requires protection. Just as a wound heals best when covered, spiritual work stabilizes best when undisturbed. Breaking a seal does not always cause immediate collapse. Sometimes the effect is gradual. Momentum slows, clarity fades, results weaken. This is why restraint matters. Protection is not paranoia. It is wisdom, earned through observation. Energy follows clarity. When intention is precise and unwavering, energy organizes itself around it. This is energy obedience, not dominance, but alignment. Scattered intention produces scattered outcomes. Focused intention produces structure. When the mind, emotion, and action agree, energy has no choice but to comply. This is not mystical fantasy. It is observable, in everyday life. Athletes, artists, and innovators enter states where effort feels guided, almost inevitable. Their clarity removes resistance. The same principle applies spiritually. When you know what you are doing and why, friction dissolves. However, energy does not obey hesitation. Doubt sends mixed signals, and energy responds accordingly: unsteady, inconsistent, unreliable. This is why inner coherence matters more than force. Quiet certainty bends reality more effectively than loud desire. When intention becomes law, behavior changes naturally. You stop negotiating with distractions. Choices simplify. Alignment becomes effortless. This is not control. It is cooperation between will and reality. One of the first signs is inner stillness. Not emptiness, but calm clarity. Emotional reactions soften, and responses become deliberate rather than impulsive. You notice that situations which once drained you no longer penetrate as deeply. This is structural strength forming internally. Another sign is external reorganization. People, habits, and opportunities shift without force. Some connections fade naturally, others strengthen unexpectedly. This is not loss, it is recalibration. What no longer aligns simply cannot remain anchored. You may also notice heightened discernment. Decisions feel clearer, boundaries feel natural, and intuition sharpens. You stop explaining yourself as much because you no longer feel the need to justify alignment. Confidence becomes quiet, grounded, and steady. Finally, there is momentum without chaos. Progress happens without burnout. Growth feels sustainable rather than exhausting. This is the hallmark of successful calcification: strength without rigidity, movement without fragmentation. Once the seal is established, life does not return to how it was. It reorganizes. This reorganization can feel disorienting at first because familiar struggles disappear, leaving unfamiliar stability. You may realize how much energy was previously spent surviving rather than building. Challenges do not vanish, but they change quality. Instead of constant resistance, you encounter meaningful tests, ones that refine rather than deplete. Life begins responding rather than opposing. Effort becomes strategic instead of reactive. Relationships adjust as well. Some people fall away because they no longer resonate with your frequency. Others step forward, drawn by alignment rather than need. These shifts are not punishments. They are natural consequences of coherence. Ultimately, the aftermath is integration. Spiritual awareness merges with daily life. You act with intention, rest without guilt, and move forward without fragmentation. The seal does not trap you. It stabilizes you, allowing growth to continue without collapse.